Good evening. Cheers to you, my friends, and welcome to another episode of Wine, Cheese, and Comics, Please. What is going on, everybody? Tonight, I bring to you a sophisticated approach to comics and pop culture. Nah, we're just here to have some fun, some laughs, but talk serious about the state of comic books and what's going on, the movies that are coming out around it, some of the creators and what they have going on as well. So there's a lot of things we want to get to. I got a couple panel members on right now and a few more that will be joining in a few. So, ladies and gents, get your popcorn, grab your glasses of wine and hold them up to the sky because we're about to have some fun and just chat it up. That's what we're here for, ladies and gents. All right, let me introduce my panel members. You guys know him, you love him. He's the guy from the future, the guy from the past. He's very promiscuous boy. The one and only promiscuous time traveler. What's up, Kyle?
Promiscuous boy, you're teasing me. I know what you want, and I got what you need.
Sing it, my brother. Hey, I like it.
Cheers to you, Sans. Cheers to you.
There you go, there you go.
We have a lot to talk about.
We do. But first, I'm loving, first of all, the outfit. Let's get it. I love the hat with the it's almost Crocodile Dundee-ish a little bit, but then it has
that's not nice.
It got the yes, I'm loving it. And then the background, man, you got some Star Wars up there for us.
I got some mood lighting too. I got changing between pinks and reds. I'm rocking my wine right here that I can't pronounce, so don't ask me. It's all in Italian. So but it's delicious and it's red.
So you're going with a red tonight. What kind of blends are you getting out of that wine?
Oh no, not a blend. I can't even describe it to you. All I can tell you is that the grape that they use is Barbera, because that's the only thing in English on the back. So
excellent, my brother. Excellent. Well, the ambiance is set. Yes, Star Wars Stormtrooper. So what you're telling us is you're going to be shooting tonight, but you're going to be missing on every shot with this Star Wars Stormtrooper behind you. So we appreciate you, Kyle. This next man coming up, you know, the way it's going right now, he's going to tell you how it is. He's going to hold no bars. He's the Charles Barkley of wine and cheese, the Mr. One and only Mr. CGC, I'm going to call him. That's his name, Mr. CGC. What's up, Matt?
You had to make a bald joke about the Charles Barkley thing.
Hey, you're wearing the headband.
You had to go there. I was dancing some promiscuous girl, but then you had to go. Time travel got promiscuous girl. I got Charles Barkley.
Hey, I got Kevin Hart the other night, right?
Cheese stick.
We all take what we get.
My cheese stick over here and my Charles Barkley self. Okay, folks.
Hey, that's just terrible.
We know how the night's gonna go. Okay. Okay. I'm prepared. I got my sweatband on. I'm ready for battle.
This is the epicness that we are talking about right here, ladies and gents.
Yeah.
We have the crew hanging out with you tonight. So, Mr. Matt, CGC is better than CBS. Welcome to the panel. What's going on with you, Matt? How you been since we last chatted?
Oh, man, I'm riddled with holes after how you all left me last time. So for episode 2, I went out to Goodwill. I got myself my blazer. You know,
nice.
I picked up my cheese stick. I got my Slim Jim. I'm ready to go.
See?
I got great graphs and materials to support my claims.
He is not playing tonight. This is what we're talking about when we talk about a sophisticated approach to craziness right here, ladies and gents. And he's got his wine. So everyone, cups up. Cheers to you. We appreciate you guys. Thank you for being in the panel. And let me just see who's here early. There's anyone hanging out? Oh, my man Billy Badass has already shown up. What up, William Albright? Good to see you. He said, anyone missing out on the Nocterra, check out One Stop Shop. Oh, look. Hey, these shops are really hooking people up. I saw what Black Cape did today and a couple others. So, ladies and gents, let's get it. So,
spreading the
Red
love.
alert on that book after today.
oh my gosh, it is. All right, let's kick it off nice and slow, right? But since
Okay.
Billy Badass has put it in the chat, and we're talking about some of these artists and series and what's going on, let's talk about Substack, right? And let's talk about the break away from the big components of Marvel, DC, even some of the indies, right? Breaking away. What does this mean? And I'm gonna go big to each of you to give you kind of 30 seconds or 1 minute to set it up. What does Substack mean to you, Kyle?
Let's do it. All right. Substack is something that I think there's a lot of money in it right now. They're throwing out these big contracts to all these writers mainly. I haven't seen that many artists that they've signed, but basically giving free reign to them to create their own stuff. But it's creating this like ripple through the comic, at least industry, in the sense of some people are leaving some titles that they have like their main titles, and they're jumping off and they're doing their own thing, and it's all going to be subscription based. It's like Patreon, but not really, because you're subscribing to one person at a time. And I'm interested to see how it progresses. I think it's a cool idea, but my personal opinion is that it's going to set the ground rules for something better in the future. And that's basically my whole crux of it.
Now I'm going to bring up the analyst, the stats man, aka Mr. Know-It-All. Matt, what's going on with Substack real quick, my friend?
Well, before I get into Substack, right now we're gonna have a moment of silence for DC Books losing Tinian. So everyone, please pause. 5 seconds.
Pour out a little liquor.
Well, you broke the silence.
You're
5
terrible
seconds.
at 5 seconds.
If I was outside, I'd pull one down for my DC friends. But folks, Substack, it's either going to be a grand slam or it's going to be a foul ball. I mean, there's no middle ground, I don't think, on this one. Again, you have some fantastic artists, some fantastic writers going under Substack. You've already had those that are subscribing to the Tinian Onion Substack already got a preview of his first book, The Blue Books, real stories about UFOs. So I think it could be amazing. But you got to like digital comic books. They do say that some will come out raw in 2020 or 2022. Sorry, we passed 2020 time traveler. I apologize.
No worries.
But I don't know how I feel other than I'm crying in my self-loathing of DC. Like I when they say that it couldn't get any worse, well, guess what? It got worse. It got worse real fast.
I appreciate that opinion. Listen, ladies and gents, let me tell you like this. I love what these artists are doing. I love what they're standing for, right? It's saying something about the creativity and the ownership of their product, their IP. When you tell someone, hey, I would like to end something some way, or I want to do it this way, and you don't have creative control over what you do any longer, then find your passion, find your way out of that. And that's what I see these artists doing. Now, I echo what my fellow panel members say. I think this is going to be a monumental experiment, and it can go one or two ways, right? It can be an epic success or major flop, because you're going to have to get the investment up front, and then they're going to have to produce, right? If all of these people are spending $250 to get in on this thing and it doesn't really produce any kind of merit, you're going to see some epic failure. And then people will come back to these bigger runs and bigger shops. But, if it works, it's going to be a whole new ball game for a lot of creators out there. So let me bring us all back in, and let's talk about how we see this going in the beginning. And Kyle, you kind of talked about, well, you're the future man. You kind of talked about what this can mean. Like, where do we see, Substack right now, and where do we see it in 5 years if things are going well?
Yeah. Okay. Well, if things are going well, then awesome. It'll keep going. More people join over to it. It's like okay. I'll say one quick aside. the shift to digital will be inevitable in a sense. I mean, we're already seeing it with like manga titles and how things are going over in like the transition is very smooth in that aspect, but we're not seeing it here in the States or with the comic book industry in general. But I think that it's bound to happen, but I honestly don't think that Substack is going to be the one to do it. I think that they're, like I said, they're going to push us in the right direction. And it'll, once the money runs out on the contracts, I don't know. I don't have any numbers or analytics on how many subscribers there are. Otherwise, I would have a more realistic expectation, because like we're voices.
Now,
of the
how many
community.
people are doing it right now? Let's
Exactly.
Let's talk
That's a
about
good
it from that standpoint. Is
Yep.
Snyder and Capullo doing something Substack now as well?
I believe Snyder is. I haven't heard anything about Capullo.
I know Snyder is.
So we got Snyder, we got Tinian.
We got Tinian.
Mm-hmm.
Is there, is that enough to say that there is an exodus or a push towards this? I think I saw Kirkham do something similar with Final Level Boss as well. Scotty Young maybe as well. I think I'm seeing 3 or 4 major artists. I believe
Hickman as well.
The new slate of writers includes Saldina Amid, Jonathan Hickman, Molly Ostertag, Scott Snyder, James Tinian as writers. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 right now.
Okay. Wow, I thought there was more. I knew Hickman and Tinian and Snyder were the big 3 in my aspect, and then Scotty Young in the sense of, but he's like artist writer. So
right. So you got those 5 or 6 or so who are the writers who are bringing over their creativity.
Yeah.
In chat, please chime in your thoughts on this as well.
No. In chat, we need to. William Albright needs to be put on a 5-minute timeout with his comment about DC. So don't encourage the chat.
I love it. This is how interactive we are, man. Shout out to everybody who's in the chat hanging out. Yeah. Be sure to have your glasses of wine, take a photo, post it of you with the wine watching us. We love it. But yeah, so when I think of this, is the investment level going to be able to garner your average Joe collector, right? Because
no,
we're talking $250 for some of these things, and it's to get this kind of, you'll get 6 exclusive comics for the year. You'll get early access. Now, this is big, I would say, to your hardcore fans and to those collectors who are in the know. But is Joe, Joe Comic Guy who runs in and grabs 3 comics every 2 weeks, is he going to now see, oh man, Tinian is leaving DC. Should I follow him? How is this going to work for every level of collector, and who's going to really push this forward?
It's going to come down to the story. Let's just call it is. People read books if the story's good. I mean, you've had big name writers, big name artists that have put out some stories, and you pick them up, you read the first 2, but you don't stay committed. I mean, but if you got a story that's good, whether it's digital or on paper, you're going to want to read it because you want to be a part of that story. You want to be a part of those characters.
Good story. Kept me
good
on
story.
that. Yep.
So again, and with the fact that if the story kicks off digitally, it's going to open the books for an actual print, like being live, like the hard copies. So if I could read it a year ahead digitally, and then I know ahead of time that number 1 that comes out in print is going to be hot, I can pick it up right away. And what's up, my man, Gary? Thank you for joining us tonight, man.
Appreciate you coming in. All you eyes who are here, smash that like button, spread the love.
Now,
we're just having a nice conversation.
One more thing about Substack, in the sense of going back to what Sans said. They said that some titles, not all titles, some titles will go to print eventually, which means like way further down the line. So you'll get to know if you want to like dip your toe into a comic. It's a relatively cheap investment to see if something's good, and then you pick it up when it comes out.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm just trying to provide both sides of the argument.
Like I said, it's either a grand slam or a foul ball. There's no middle. There's no middle ground. Like either, and again, they have to do it from book one. I know Tynion's talking that he's got 6 books coming, but I'm telling you, if Blue Book isn't good or on par with Something Killing the Children, Department of Truth, or Nice House on the Lake, it don't matter what the other 5 books he puts out. Yeah. I mean, you might dabble just because he's got a good track record, but that first core group that subscribe that are in it, they're going to fade quick.
Yeah. Now, you said in the beginning, RIP DC. How big of a hit is this to the majors or even the indies, kind of the tier 2 indies, to have these artists such as a Tynion, jump ship and do his own thing? He's the artist of the year. I mean, writer of the year, right? And he's now pulling out from DC. DC, I thought should have just backed the truck up and said, "You got full creative control." Because whatever the man touches right now, kind of really sets the stage.
Has substance. He brings substance characters. He brings story. He brings people back to a comic book that you want to wait for the next issue. You want to pick it up. Joker, his whole work with that, it was amazing. Like I was so hooked, and now I'm kind of like, it hurts, man. It hurts. And again, DC hasn't had this super strong lineup the last couple of years. Marvel has. And again, I go back to it where the comic book genre has been on fire, and these new modern books are backing up the movies that are just taking off on the screens and bringing in those new readers, those new collectors, and they're just jumping on these stories. And again, because Marvel's in your face, ready to go, great stories, great character development, they are driving the market right now. And DC's struggling to match them.
I think I see DC has this kind of Batman-centric approach where everything builds off of Batman, right? Everything is a Batman umbrella effect, and you're wearing the shirt right now, or Suicide Squad. But I think I'm starting to see a few branches from DC that actually started to blossom, which had to do with Nice House on the Lake and other things, and now that's going to be pulled from us. So I just wanted to say I think this is a big hit to DC, bigger than whether or not it's successful for these individual writers and artists. I feel like it's going to hurt DC right off the bat because they were just hitting their stride with this.
That's fair. Yeah. Excellent. I mean, there are some good DC stories. Like, I don't want to completely throw them under the rug. I mean, Swamp Thing, Nightwing.
But they go like this.
They
go like this. That's the problem. There's no consistency.
Oh, that's fair.
You don't have your early 90s investment. You don't have your true stories, your Dark Knight Returns, your stories that no matter what, are going to be phenomenal. You can't wait till next month when that copy comes out. It's like, I'm reading it. I'm reading it because I love the character. And, they're doing some new things. So,
all right. So that's our take on Substack, ladies and gents. We're going to circle back to this probably in about 6 months. But we want to know what you guys think. So drop some info in the comments. Leave info below in the chat. We want to know, what do you guys think of Substack? And also, how is it going to impact a company like DC to have a Tynion league? So we're going to come back to this for sure because it's just taking off. What's up, Al?
One more thing before we move on. We didn't touch on indies, and that's kind of why I'm even on this panel, is because all I read are indie books.
Right.
I don't think Substack affects indie because there isn't, or independent comic books, because there isn't that core followership. There isn't that diehard DC fan or that diehard Marvel fan. Like maybe
Boom's going to take a hit.
Titles like Spawn or so. What's that?
Boom's going to take a huge hit from this.
With what are they going to
look this way. So Tynion's shifting to Substack, so he's putting Nice House on the Lake on a 5-month hiatus. So
that's
that's what the hiatus is, Rob?
That's what the hiatus
is. He wants to kick Substack off. I mean, but I'm just saying.
Something is killing the children.
Wind as well is a Tynion book. Also from.
So I mean, I just think
Okay,
I think everyone's going to take a hurt because they're not invested in their series, and they've kind of given us this 5 fingers of great stories, and they're kind of slowly pulling them back on us.
I would hate, and that's that like not sticking landings on certain books that they've been hyping for like 10 issues or so. That I think that's detrimental. So that's fair. Okay, I just wanted to touch on indies real fast before we moved on.
No, I agree. I agree.
No, and this is a fair point that William brings up as well. You know, a lot of these artists have already given, or we can even say the George R.R. effect, right? Where you've given kind of the outline or all the way up to close to the end of the story. So even them leaving at this point, you kind of have the full arc or know how you want to go with this story. Yes. So DC isn't necessarily going to be at a loss from completing Nice House. They may not be able to prolong it like they did with Something Is Killing the Children, right? You go from this small, unique thing to where I want to make it, you know, this whole universe out of nowhere. And that's part of the reason why Tinian, I feel like, is leaving, because he wanted to end Something Is Killing the Children. And they said, no, we need more.
That cash cow.
That is a great point. Oh my goodness.
And he doesn't own his characters. He doesn't own his IP. So it becomes, I don't have the direction anymore. I don't have ownership of it. I'm going to, skirt it.
Yep, where he wants to maybe kill off a character to make it like that suspense. They're like, no, you can't. We need them for another 10 books.
Yeah. Just to touch on William's question, to give kind of like an answer from a creator's perspective. My favorite book is By the Horns. They're currently writing issue 12, and issue 5 is going to come out next week. That's just to give a little perspective on like how they're thinking way ahead. Like they're not, oh man, my book just came out, I got to make the next issue. That's not, like, they have their whole concept and they're way ahead of it in the game in terms of writing. Maybe the art takes a little bit longer because it's just harder to do that. So
agreed. I mean, so he's saying, so what you're saying is these books that have been worked on have been big hits and have movie potential. You're going to step away to do digital. Now what's going to happen when and if it comes back? I think there's a lot to be said for being an entrepreneur and setting out on your own, and also being, humble enough to come back if things don't work, right? So I think if it didn't work and he decided to come back, these companies would be clamoring to get him, right? They're like, hey, come on back, we don't care. So I do think that there's opportunity. He's going to be a trailblazer, and there'll be a lot of future for this. But we're going to come back to this topic in 6 months or so and see how it is.
All right. So real quick, so we started a poll. So we want to circle back. We want to know where we're at. So hit or flop. That's what we're going to keep it middle. So in 6 months, when we circle back to this, I want to circle back to what we thought it was going to be. So Kyle, hit or flop?
Flop. Absolutely.
Flop. Okay. Sans, hit or flop?
Hit. And I'm going to say hit for Tinian specifically. I don't know so much the others. I'm going to say hit.
Hickman and Snyder and Scotty Young. Those are some big names.
I'm gonna go with Kyle. I'm gonna say book 1 is a hit. The rest are flop.
Nice. I love this.
They jump up and fall in their face.
Yeah, they're gonna go off, and then they're gonna be like, "Oh man, I missed doing it in print," and it's gonna drop.
Cool. And then we'll check back, and we'll check back in 6 months.
6 months.
And see where we're at.
All right. So that's what we got.
No, that's great perspective. Now let's get into a little bit of what is going on right now, and we're going to talk about a show that is setting the world on fire. It's a DC product, ladies and gents, and I'm talking. There it is. Let me make this. Let me enlarge this. Let me pull this down and hold that closer to the camera. DC the Titans. This right here, ladies and gents, is not your WB, CW, bargain basement type of cookie cutter, And I'm knocking CW right now, and The Flash was great for a while, but every story seemed to be repetitive, and then I kind of got over it. This is such a breath of fresh air that I am, just enjoying it immensely. Let me give you guys a chance to say what you think about this, because this right here is actually reviving my love for some of the characters and some of the DC story.
Start with Matt this time.
Oh, I don't have a chance to defend anything you say if you start with me first. But okay, let's go. Let's have this. All right, Titans, hands down. This is your comic book dreams in a 45-minute episode. Comes out once a week. We're on season 3. Season 2 had its moments. Season 1 was amazing, but season 3 we brought the Red Hood into this. We brought Scarecrow into the mix, and I'm telling you, it is amazing. They portray these characters as I've always wanted to see them. A little less on the Starfire stripper age, but she pulled it back in season 3. She's more her character. But it's raw. It's not Batman. It's not the Flash. It's not your mainstream A-class. Yes, Nightwing's an A-class, but you saw his growth. You saw his development. You're seeing how Gar is really trying to come into his own with his factors. It is absolutely the best comic book adaptation on TV, hands down. I will fight you tooth and nail if anyone says otherwise. Charles Barkley's in the house. I'm like, that's what the hell's going on here.
I was thinking Macho Man. He's like, "Oh yeah, snap into a Slim Jim.
Listen here,
let's watch them.
I'll tell you what it is." What up, X-Men Mike? What's going on in here? Sophisticated conversation about comics and cheese. We're talking about cheese and lactose, please. All right, Kyle. What? Tell me about Titans. And I know you're an indie man, my friend. But
yes, sir. But good storytelling.
Any insight on the Titans right now?
I would like to say one thing just about DC in general. If you have not watched DC animated anything, DC animated blows everything out of the water.
100%.
I don't know how to say it anymore. Just go watch some DC animated. Just doesn't even matter the title. Like, I guarantee you the character building, the story, the continuity is amazing. DC animated, great storytelling. Okay, Titans, I'm having a hard time just from an actor perspective. But I watch things differently. I love the characters that they're introducing, and they're not like the super mainstream ones. It's really refreshing. Like, Titans is a refreshing show, but the acting is getting on my nerves, at least with the
all right, cut him. Get him off the screen. Cut him.
Cut him. I look at it from that perspective.
Cut him.
Go ahead.
No negativity on this show.
The interruption is what he said. We turned it to the sports show. No, Kyle, I understand where you're coming from, man, because some of these shows, what I call the CW effect, I could deal completely, pass all the way, like X-Men Mike would say. Some of the CW effect is just the worst for me. But what I will say about this is these guys are coming together, and I am enjoying this run from start to finish. It is bringing in all of your hardcore villains. It is putting a nice twist on them, just like Matt said with Scarecrow. I am loving the way he's being portrayed and how he is manipulating things. It is becoming so masterful and beautiful. And then you got your Red Hood this year. Yeah, and I'm sorry, spoiler alert here if you haven't been watching it. But when you get to see these characters come to fruition, it has just been amazing. So let's all get on this topic.
I'm sorry,
Titans. Is it a hit or is it not?
Oh, 100% a hit. 100%. You take my money. I'll watch every season from here on out. I'm sorry. Seeing Scarecrow being a pothead, dancing while he's trying to do his thing, I just love it. I love every minute about it. And I love that it's raw. I love that they curse. I love that they're actual people. I love that.
Very raw.
Raw. And they did something this year. I don't want to give too much away, but they pulled a Game of Thrones where no one's safe. That mentality.
Nobody is safe.
And you don't know what's going to happen episode to episode. I mean, they brought Barbara Gordon back in and they referenced the whole Killing Joke. They had Lady Vic that came in last night. I mean, come on, man. They're not bringing the Batman, the Lex Luthors,
But listen, Matt, not just that, but Bruce Wayne is a madman. He's bananas.
He's old man Bruce. I mean, come on, man.
Old man Bruce, and he is like, you know what? F this. You guys.
Time out.
I love it.
Time out. He got flamed. I just want to talk about one scene. He got flamed at an event, and then he goes down in the Batcave, and he's got a whole computer of potential Robins ready to go after they just called him a lunatic for taking these kids in, training them into these weapons, and releasing them into the world. And he's like, I was preparing. You know, I had to make sure that there was always a Robin in the world. Like, my man, you literally just lost one of your kids. Yes. You called him son, and you got a computer over here with Tinder. Swipe left for your next hot pick.
It's to the point where Bruce Wayne is. Yeah, they criticize him and they're like, why is the Joker still living? And he's like, you know what? F it. You're right. Why is the Joker still living? Boom. Now what? It is one of those shows where, and you brought up the Game of Thrones factor and effect, and there's been so much backlash to, the last couple seasons of Game of Thrones, but those first couple seasons where there wasn't no holds bars, anything goes. You wanted to see character development, and then wait, not that guy. No, not her. And it is to that point almost where you're like, oh my God, what's going to happen this week? And that is what I'm loving. I think, like Matt said, with Beast Boy, these are characters that are very hard to translate in real life acting. And they are pulling it off, right? It's so easy in a cartoon animated. And shout out to you, Kyle, for bringing up the animation, right? Because it is one of those things where DC excels, but they translated this show to the small screen brilliantly. That's where I am with it. And that's a great question, X-Men Mike, whether or not this is better than The Boys. I love The Boys, but sometimes I don't connect to The Boys. For whatever reason, I feel like The Boys is very...
It's slapstick.
Cliche-ish at times and can be a little over the top to get attention, whereas I don't feel like this is going over the top. I feel like they're doing things very strategic and brilliant. So I'm going to go with you there. I'm going to go with you. But where do we see this show going, and what is the ramifications of a show like this being done on an HBO Max? Does that mean Green Lantern is going to be lit?
Doom Patrol,
right?
Yeah, Doom Patrol showed up in one T-Pain said earlier, showed up in one episode in season 1, and now it's about to do season 2, I believe. They did a whole season 1 by themselves. It was absolutely fantastic. Season 2 trailer dropped. It looks amazing. Again, HBO allowing them to be raw comic book characters. You can't put Titans on CW. You couldn't put Titans in you could probably put Titans in theater if you kind of dulled it down to like one plot line, but it's like the same thing with the Snyder Cut. Marvel will create the fun, family-friendly, no, there's Loki, create that multiverse. We'll talk about that. And then you have DC that's like, screw these characters. You have Barbara Gordon, was shot in the abdomen and paralyzed and then raped by the Joker. I mean, like, oh my God, a superhero? Oh, that happened? Yeah. Robin goes, F Batman. Like, I mean, come on. Like,
right.
So fed up with it. That is what you want to see, because you get to see the side where Batman, you created weapons out of these Robins, and pretty much they didn't know how to turn it off. And they got that taste for blood, and quite frankly, they enjoyed whooping that ass because that's what they were trained to do.
It's crazy. It's crazy that you say that. And what you end up seeing is some of these iconic stories that we've read. throughout the years in Batman and different DC pieces are coming to life, kind of like the best versions and iteration. Like if you wanted to see the Killing Joke live, right? Barbara Gordon, being paralyzed and all of this other stuff happening is bringing the Killing Joke to life, and all of this, and it is literally it's serving up. I'm going to ask this question: are the Titans serving up a softball for the DCEU to make a rebound?
100%.
We got Flashpoint coming. What does that look like to you both?
I hope it's as raw and unfiltered as Titans is. Like
it won't.
And oh really? Oh wow. Okay, I'm just saying my hopes. Okay. Why do you say that?
Because WB has their fingers in Flashpoint, and Flashpoint is the reset. It's getting rid of Batflick, even though I think he's one of the best portrayals of Batman. It's righting some wrongs with the whole issue with Cyborg and his issues with the on-screen cast and the direction. They're doing some fan favor, bringing back Keaton, going back that way. But again, there was nothing wrong with what they're doing. The Snyder cut was perfect. They gave the people what they wanted. You saw Wonder Woman cut off his head, and then they threw it back through the portal at Doomsday. That's what people want. People don't want, oh my God, we beat Loki up. Hulk flipped him around 3 times. You go sleep, puny man. People, that was fun a year ago, but come on. DC's not family friendly. DC was for the raw comic book family. You saw pain. You saw torture. Yeah. It's dark. That's what it was known for. DC, the heroes don't always win. I want to see an episode where, quite frankly, I want a movie to end where the heroes don't win. Oh my God, you got that in Infinity War.
Woo! Listen, that is some raw, uncut stuff you just said right there. My take on Flashpoint is it's going to be fun. And I say this from a standpoint of nostalgia meets, the new. So you're going to have this older Batman come back into it, which it's kind of like what you talk about with Tobey Maguire, where we want to see Tobey back as Spider-Man, right? You get Michael Keaton. Keaton coming back and hanging out with us, along with kind of like this new Flash, and you're going to get the different Flashes. I'm interested to see how, if this is going to be rated R, right? Or if this is going to be PG-13 or what, right?
It'll be PG-13. They need the money.
They need the money. But Deadpool shows you that a rated R movie will make a hell of a lot of money.
But Deadpool needs to be rated R. The Flash doesn't need to be rated R. The Flash isn't known for being Deadpool.
This is true.
Again.
That's right.
But
that's fair.
Flashpoint, look at this. Flashpoint, the animated series, took raw storyline, raw things, the raw battle between the Atlanteans and the Athenians. You can do that in a PG-13 way and not need to make it rated R, but you need the story to be raw. There has to be pain. You have to feel for the characters. You have to have investment.
All right. So where do we see? First of all, let's talk back on Titans. Where do we see Titans? And how does this translate to the DCEU? When we come back to take a look at this chat panel, what is your take on Titan effect on the DCEU, or does it only survive on this small screen? Is HBO Max the place for DCEU right now? What are your thoughts, Kyle?
I'm ready. Oh yeah. Okay. Places like HBO and Netflix give a lot more freedom. I've talked to people who have created shows on Netflix and who have created shows on HBO, and they have freedom. They can do what they want. They can tell the story that they want. Also, HBO, DC animated Harley Quinn, amazing. Absolutely amazing.
That is one of my
now they're
favorite...
coming out with this. Yep. Go say what you want about it. Say what you. Harley Quinn's amazing. I think Titans is groundbreaking in the sense of how raw it is. I'm having trouble relating to the actors, but the story is there, and it's awesome. And if all we can do tonight is promote a little bit of content creating and raw storytelling, I think that we've succeeded as a community chat. So, but check out Harley Quinn animated, also on HBO. You're gonna be there anyways, watching Titans. So
Exactly. Matt.
Mike, I could say the same thing about X-Men the last 7 years. What have they done notable? Apocalypse? Okay, so let's talk real things. DC Titans.
Shots fired. Shots fired.
I mean,
Mike has to take 30 seconds to respond too.
No, DC Titans does not need to go to movies. It's made for TV. It's made for that character development.
That's
it's
fair.
made for those episodes. It does not need to be on there. What DC needs to do is stop centering all of their stories around Batman, Superman, and the Flash. They have so many good characters. Stop using the Joker. Stop using we know the Joker. We know the storyline. We know he's there. Use them just like Titans did. He was in. You didn't see his face. He killed somebody, and he's out. That's it. That's all you needed. You didn't need any more. Focus on those other characters. Scarecrow, so underutilized. I am head over heels waiting for the Batman. I don't care what you say about Robert Pattinson. The Batman with that dark horror vibe to it, bringing in the Riddler with the serial killer Hush Riddler. That's what I want to see. I don't want to see another Joker. I don't want to see another Doomsday. I want these other characters that have been so fleshed out in comics in movies and really do damage. Kill a hero. Great. You got a Lazarus pick. Bring him back in 5 movies as something climactic. But kill him. Give me something that's
It's amazing you say that because I feel like what I'm and we're transitioning right now, right? Well, we're going to go to some of these movie trailers and movie news and what that's going to do to the comics, right? You bring up Batman and this Robert Pattinson Batman, and all I'm getting is Seven vibe, right? If you've seen the movie Seven, Morgan Freeman, Brad Pitt, and
what's in the box,
right? What's in the exactly, bro? That is if they pull off a Seven with this Batman. So you're connecting that kind of great storytelling with this Batman. This will be one of the most epic comic book movies ever.
What was Batman in the comics? What was Batman in the comics? He was a detective. It started as Detective Comics. He was like a super sleuth at solving these situations. Yeah, he was a rich billionaire, but he was detecting stuff and using gadgets to figure things out. He was like the Dark Knight Inspector Gadget. That's what he was known for. Yeah, he had a Batmobile later in his career, but he put pieces together. He solved the crime. He found out what was going on. He started to rid Gotham of, the underworld, the Fisk, Carmen Malcone. That's what he did.
Yeah. We're not really seeing him as a detective.
No, you see him as an action film.
He's a vigilante. He's an action hero.
He likes to change his voice up and talk like this. Where's Rachel?
So I'm gonna go. We're gonna go big screen again. Kyle, talk to me about this. Talk to me about Robert Pattinson Batman. Where do you think it is, and what kind of effect is that going to have? Kind of the Hush Riddler type of story.
I struggle with all these different adaptations. We're media consumers, right? We read comic books, they translate the movies, we watch the movies, we're consumers. We get these plot lines changed, and all we have to do, all we have to do is relate them to what's been done in the past, because we see a new Batman and we relate him to the other Batmans. And then you have your favorite Batman and your favorite Joker and your favorite. I honestly think that we need to move on, and basically what Matt was saying, expose the character depth is so wide and enormous. Why aren't we exploring these other characters? There's so much to delve into, because there's been so much content that's been created, and there are people that would love to see this stuff, but it comes down to a money thing. So we have to keep making Batman movies. We have to keep making Superman movies. We have to keep things with the Avengers because that's what's been selling right now. And I don't know. It's just another Batman to me. I'm not a big Robert Pattinson fan. So my expectations are kind of low, but I just wanted to give kind of like a general idea of where I'm coming from.
I love that approach and I love that opinion.
Yeah, so that's just kind of where I stand in general.
I don't think you're wrong, but this movie, quite frankly, isn't about Robert Pattinson. It's not about him at all. This movie is going to be owned by Paul Dano. Go back to Prisoners when Paul Dano played a kid who they thought kidnapped children. That is the Paul Dano psychopath that I'm hoping to see. I want to see him play that deep, dark, mysterious, riddle me this, I'll slay you there character that's going to make us remember everything we loved about Heath Ledger and how Heath Ledger took the Joker, locked himself in a room for a month, absorbed every maniac mentality of that character and just threw it on the table. That's what we're going to see out of Paul Dano. Robert Pattinson's going to be the backup character, if you ask me honestly. It's going to be a horror film.
Horror.
Yeah, I hope so.
I will say this. I am not a Robert Pattinson fan, but yes, just like Neji has said, Twilight was a long time ago, and actors, sometimes they get typecast as a certain actor, but what I'm hearing is growth, and like you said, a great cast of characters around. And when someone can get into character, I'm finally looking forward to Pattinson's Batman just because of the detective angle on it. So from that standpoint, I do see him as a character that I can like as a Batman. If we typecast Batman as a vigilante, as a, action hero, I don't want to see Pattinson. But when we're talking about Batman from the standpoint of a dark detective trying to solve crime and then kicking some ass as well, I'm all in it for Pattinson because that guy's mysterious. He's a little, got that look in his eye like he could be a madman himself. So, when you see that kind of look, So I'm actually really, really excited about this. And just to echo what my man Matt has said and what Kyle has said, one of the successes for Marvel was not starting with the big characters. It was starting with kind of like your off shots, your Guardians of the Galaxy, Blades, right?
Iron Man started it.
It was Blade who started it.
Blade started it like years ago, but Iron Man reinvigorated, right? Iron Man was awesome. Yeah.
But for them to come out with a Guardians of the Galaxy after that took cojones, right? Because who the hell knew the Guardians of the Galaxy, right? This is going to be a fun movie. What? Like I had a comic in the 90s of Guardians. It wasn't those Guardians. So it was an interesting approach to do it. But, I bring that out to say, I do want to see these peripheral characters developed on the screen and in the comics as well. What would it be to have a Scarecrow comic, right? I would love to read from the aspect of Scarecrow, right? For a while, right? DC needs to start being creative about how they do it, flip it on its head a little bit.
Well, Joaquin Phoenix, what he did with just his standalone Joker, man. Absolutely out of the park. And at the end of it, you're left with this, oh shit, did it happen? Did it not happen? Was it real? Was it not real? Did that really spark the generation? Is he the spark that created the Joker, or is he the Joker? That's what I want. I want that Christopher Nolan. Don't give me the ending. Let my imagination run wild. Just pull me in my seat. Let my innards fall out behind me, and then say good luck.
He said, his innards fall out. I love it. So that is our take on the Batman, but we're transitioning to more of these trailers. Spider-Man, No Way Home.
Cool. Yeah.
Spider-Man. Okay. This is kind of the third installation of the Tom Holland, right? but we're getting all kinds of madness. I know Doctor Strange is the madness piece that's coming in a few. Look at this. Let me
Can
enlarge.
you just make it big? Yeah, please.
Oh my God.
Take
He's
a
got
look
a
at your phones
campaign
and your
going,
screen
ladies
right
and
now.
gents.
Yep.
He's got a campaign going.
All right,
So-
look, I just need 5 seconds. For Spider-Man fans, you cut up the original trilogy because they had too many villains at the end of Spider-Man 3, and it was horrible. I mean, Dark Spider-Man dancing the street to jazz music. Okay, it was bad. 1 and 2, amazing. Doc Ock, amazing. So you cut that up. Then we had, whatever his name is, Andrew Garfield, the second run. And here they go. They're going to build this Sinister Six story. Nope, too many villains. We're going to cut him too. We can't do that. You can't have so many villains in a story. And then here we go. No Way Home. Let's have everyone in it. Oh, it's a great idea. Yeah, let's do it. Let's bring them all back. Wait, time out. You literally ripped that apart in the first 2 whole remake, re-series. But now it's like, oh yeah, let's do it. We got the multiverse. You've had the multiverse. You've had it for years.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
love
You
it.
ruined MJ. Zendaya is a fantastic actress. I have nothing against her. She is phenomenal, but she is not my MJ. I'm sorry. She's absolutely fantastic. I
Not
love
my
it.
Spider-Man, not my MJ.
Yeah,
That is Matt's take on it, and he's sticking to it.
It's all that matters. Toby is all that matters.
Kyle,
I think we'll
Spider-Man,
see.
No Way
I think
Home
we'll see
trailer.
Toby. I think
Your
we'll
take
see.
on it.
Yeah, let's do it. Cool. I'll keep it real simple. I think that General, Loki broke some serious ground in the sense of opening up different aspects, and we don't know what we're getting. Spider-Man, we're bringing in the multiverse, but it almost took Miles Morales to get there, and the just fantastical movie that was. I think it's gonna be awesome. I think that we're bringing back some characters. I agree with what Matt said in the sense of the criticisms of the other Spider-Man movies are now a moot point, even though all of them are being exploited in the new trailer. It's just kind of sad, but at the same time, like, cool. We get a fun story with all the villains that we want and all these Easter eggs. I mean, you could make a 25-minute video dissecting that trailer. And
We get
so that's awesome.
a fun story. Oh, a fun story. Oh, wait, we didn't like Electro in the last one, but we're going to turn him yellow this time around, and he's going to be amazing.
Yeah, and he was blue, right?
Hey, listen, here's my take on Spider-Man No Way Home. I have low expectations.
It's a Disney film. It don't matter. It's going to be 97% Rotten Tomatoes with every reviewer, saying it's the greatest thing since sliced bread.
The reason why I say I have low expectations is because I don't know if there's going to be enough time for character development. I am looking forward to every one of these villains, but what we're going to do, what I think it is I think it's going to be a great movie to set up the next phase of Marvel and what needs to happen. I'm just not sure we're going to get a great Spider-Man movie. And I see the premise behind it, right? One more day, and let's talk about that, guys. Well, we're gonna talk about this trailer and what it means to the ramification of comics, short term and long term. Is that now a big comic for everybody, right? Because it was a $5 book before, and now it's huge. Mm-hmm. But what I really see out of this is the multiverse of madness. What I really see out of this is the Doctor Strange and the next level, how we get Wanda and everybody else involved in this. So I almost see it as like a launching pad. I don't see it as really, I see those first 2 Spider-Man movies as Spider-Man, right? This is about Spider-Man, his growth and everything else. This movie, I feel like it's going to be Spider-Man, but it's going to be to move the story forward for the MCU. So that's why my expectations are low. I don't doubt that it'll be a good story. I just don't know that I'm getting a great Spider-Man movie per se. So that's my take on it. Let's talk about it. He got to back up.
Talk more Titans.
let's talk about this, but also let's bring in the comics as well.
Look, Spider-Man doesn't matter.
It's fine.
People aren't going to see this for Spider-Man. What they want to finally do, they finally want to bring the mutants to the MCU. You have the storyline. You have Mephisto portraying Doctor Strange. Yay! You led all of the fan base on about bringing mutants to the MCU through WandaVision, through Captain America, Crappy Falcon, and then you finally did a little bit in Loki. I mean, we got close to seeing it. You gave us Kang, okay. So now you're going to finally do it in Spider-Man? I mean, come on, just do it. Do it. Have the multiverse. Doctor Strange opens a portal. Wolverine comes out, kills Tom Hiddleston. We all move on with our lives. I'm ready for it.
That might
Shank.
That's a hot take.
Chickpea Shank. Done. 30-minute film. We're in, we're out. It's good. Game over.
Matt, I gotta applaud you. I would love to see some shit like that. That was awesome, wild. Bro. Now, what did you just put up, my man, Kyle? What do you got going on back there?
We're talking Spider-Man. So
we're talking Spider-Man.
I brought out my Spider-Mans. Yes, I brought out a little
Spider-Man. This is a comic book show, yes.
Yeah,
those are some beautiful
Spider-Man 33. I just got this from Adrian APM, if he's out there. Spider-Man 60.
Oh, beautiful.
The I like your point, to be honest. Like going into a Spider-Man movie with a low expectation, understanding that the character development might not be there because of all the characters that they're throwing at us. I have a feeling we're going to see all three Spider-Men. I think all of them make some kind of cameo, that being Andrew Garfield, Tobey Maguire, and Hiddleston.
Will one of the Spider-Men be a villain, not a hero?
Oh,
that would be cool.
Good question.
I mean, we saw the different. That would be.
That's it.
The concepts that you're saying, Matt, are freaking awesome. Like
I want to see one of them. I want to see one of them be the villain, and I want to see Doc Ock come out and be the hero. Flip it up. Do something different.
Matt, why weren't you in the test groups for these movies? Because those fucking ideas, pardon my French, ladies and gents, would be amazing.
Like now, instead of that scene where Doc Ock meets him on the bridge and he says, "Hello, Peter."
French is my
I mean, great. He's my favorite villain of all time, best Spider-Man movie of all time. So I have positivity for that. Instead of doing that, he comes in, he saves him. He picks up Hobgoblin's bomb and throws it back at him instead of turning it around.
So you just brought up Hobgoblin.
I think he's talking to
Ned.
Yeah,
Green Goblin. Sorry.
Okay, I was going to say, is Ned turning into the Hobgoblin this time around, or what is going on?
Every best friend of Peter has turned into some type of goblin.
So, with regards to this, tell me about Doctor Strange, right? Because we're going to get on a little bit of What If, right? And I'm not sure if everyone in here has seen What If from last night, but it's almost like a direct take on what we could be seeing in the Spider-Man No Way Home. Is that Doctor Strange? Is that Mephisto? I seen a change of clothing. It almost looks like Dark Strange. Right?
When have you seen Doctor Strange rocking a college hoodie, his cape, and he's like, "Yeah, sure, I'm gonna rewrite time because you know what? Let's do it for shits and giggles." This man has been so stone hard. He wouldn't even give up out of the 14 million times one time worked right. Come on, if that's not Mephisto, we need to get up and walk out of that theater when they go, "Oh, it was me the whole time." Like, I mean, come on, they've literally shoved the man down our throats through 3 series on Disney Plus. Give the fans what they want. Just do it. It's time.
So, is it Mephisto?
100%. It has to be 100%. I mean, he laughs. He goes, "Ha ha ha ha. Be careful what you wish for." It's like the old Dracula that you always wanted. I mean, like, come on.
It's not Doctor Strange. That's all I'll say. There's no way. You don't change a character that drastically. That's absurd. And everybody sees Cumberbatch and just assumes. So why not? I mean, we're the people that really get invested in these characters, and I wish Hollywood would cater more to us, because the stories that we're talking about in this panel right now might be way better than the actual film itself. which
They
is
are because we came up with them.
Uh-oh. Man,
But we're not
fan
writers.
film. It's time for a fan film. No,
Hey.
you know, I think you guys are touching on a lot here. And
yes.
the whole point about people being upset about no Mephisto, get it in and get it out the way, right? That's Mephisto. We know it's him, right? Where are the X-Men? Where are the mutants? We know they're here. Say it.
Don't do it. Look, in WandaVision, they had the lineup for Mr. Fantastic. They talked about the neurospace engineer. Just give us something.
I thought that was going to be Blue Marvel.
Or it could have been. Give us something other than the same reused, rewashed characters. I'm tired of it.
Yep.
I'm tired.
All night.
So transition that to the comic book, right? We're talking about Spider-Man. What is it? 545, somewhere right around there.
Yeah.
No, one more day.
Yeah, I know what you're saying.
You know, the storyline. I wanna bring May back, and ends up making a deal with the devil type of storyline that had to be retconned. It was so kind of controversial. Does this become an epic storyline? Because I've seen it's on your top 10s now everywhere, and I've seen comic book prices spike. Is this the comic to collect right now? And does it become as iconic as a Kraven's Last Hunt or something of that nature?
It'll be as iconic as West Coast Avengers.
So West Coast Avengers 45. It's just timing.
It's just timing. That's all it is. Just like WandaVision, when you had the white vision, it was all about just the heat of the moment, and then it'll be gone. And it'll be taken over when you see Kraven himself actually come in as the next villain. This is 100% a fanfare send off. Because again, look, I honestly think Marvel had to do some crappy broker deal with Sony to get Tom Hiddleston back for a couple films. And this is the tie-in that they can say, oh, well, look, we can cross over to Sony movies, and then we can share him. It's going to be fun. It's going to be friendly. It's going to have my man, Tom Hiddleston, crying because hot Aunt May, and she's with Uncle Ben. Tired of it. Give me better characters. Give me better story. I want more of you, better than you, Marvel.
Kyle, your thoughts?
I want to get Matt to write I wish that I could get some of the comic community to get some kind of writer job, get some kind of what's it called when you reach out to somebody, correspondent,
kind of like,
I guess,
input and
yeah. Run it by the people. Like,
why do they not put comic fans in the screening? Because comic fans would rip their crap to shreds. They put John, Sally, and little Two-Tooth Tony in there that want to see flashing lights and characters. That's it.
Yeah. To keep it back on what Sans was saying, the conversation between the speculation on Marvel books is strictly between Sans and Matt right now. I collect indie books. And these are my only Spider-Man books that I own.
Classics.
Yep.
But you can see the whole thing as well, because what happened when news hit that Noctura is going to be a TV show. Now a TV show, right?
Yes.
And just translate that to where we are with Marvel right now, and this trailer dropping, and what we're trying to get at is, what makes sticking power for a book that was either a dollar bin book or a low interest book? What translates to sticking power? Is it the movie, or when people start to go back and read that story, will it become iconic and live beyond the movie? Is what I'm trying to get at.
Great transition. Yeah, I like it. My personal opinion is that when a story is that groundbreaking, you even said that it had to be retconned and changed. When it's that groundbreaking and somebody teases it, and us fans are sitting there like, hey, this is awesome, like, and then you go and reread it and you realize how cool it is, and you start making all those connections in your mind, like, how can this be? Oh, it must be Mephisto. Oh, it must be this. And you start making you're generating the hype. I mean, we as a community can make our own hype. It's that simple. I touched on it in some of the videos that I posted. Like,
this is
a top 10
true.
video can dictate a market. We're small. Don't get me wrong. We're a small community.
Our hype.
Yeah.
What filmmakers care about.
Exactly.
let's just be real. Our hype, like, oh my God, they're gonna do it. They're gonna do it. They do it.
Yep.
They do the bare minimum of it. And again, not to transition, but what you just said is Venom 100%. Absolute Carnage is that hype up here, the outcome down here. So, I agree with you.
My expectations are super low, especially after the first Venom. I mean, I look at it from a.
Okay.
I'm not sure if you know this about me, but
Pause right there. Yeah. We're going on to this Venom. We're going on to this Venom.
Drink.
Cool. Yeah. Cheers.
Because Venom is big. This is one
cheers
that.
To the chat too.
This is one that people are. When we talk about comic book speculation and we talk about the movies. Venom is one of those wild roller coasters, right? Because this book 361 has had so much of a up and down because of this movie and this trailer. Let's talk about Woody Harrelson. Let's talk about Carnage. Let's talk about Venom, ladies and gents. We're gonna jump right onto this subject. Matt, Venom.
Hold on. I don't even say anything. PG-13.
Oh, okay.
That's the rating it's got. You're going to bring in absolute carnage, let there be carnage, and you're going to make a PG-13 film. There's my expectations. Ready? Oh, that's the real OG Toby. I can't do that. Here's my expectations. Flop. 100% flop. Don't even need to talk about it. Woody Harrelson is amazing. I think he'll portray the character fantastic, but they don't have the writing. They don't have the story. I think it's going to be 40% on Rotten Tomatoes. Quote me.
Woo! He gave it to him. All right, Kyle.
I would love to see. That's fine. I would love to see a show of just Matt giving hot takes just endlessly. But maybe like a 20 second once a week, give some hot takes. I pulled out my Venom.
This is the show. This is the show for Matt. Hot takes with Matt.
Yep, I'm all on board. I love these hot takes. They're refreshing, for one. And again, they're an awesome perspective. And I want to give a little bit of my perspective. I see things from when I watch a movie, I look at how it's shot, the acting, the writing, the lighting, like the director's choices. I'm not sure if, like, I was alluding to this earlier, but I'm not sure if you know this. I've been an actor since I was 10 years old. I'm 29 now. Been in the industry. I've written stuff. I've been in movies. I've been in TV shows. I've been in print stuff. Like, the money is what drives it, and it saddens me to the core. And it's sad to say, like, hey, we have all these expectations for it, but then there's always somebody that, like, it's always the fans that are like, oh man, I was let down. Take any movie that was adapted from a book or a novel, like, they're always let down. Harry Potter, there's people that don't like Harry Potter because the books were better. It's the same concept. The comic books were better in a sense. We have mixed opinions just based on the first Venom movie. I mean, but I also go to conventions, and I went to, where I picked this up was San Diego Comic-Con, and they gave this to me for free. And they were promoting Carnage. They were doing this. This was 2019. This 2 years later, and the movie comes out. Like, they have a plan. And at least I would say they're learning that relying on their stories and not alienating the fans is a good thing. But at the same time, it's a money business, and I don't want to be that downer guy. Yeah.
Close your eyes and describe to me Dylan Brock.
Again, he's an indie guy, like, so you may not know Dylan.
Dylan Brock.
What do you mean?
Just describe to me what you envision Dylan Brock to look like, to be like. from comics, from series, from that cover, everything you saw. It doesn't have to. You don't have to read the story, but what you have seen, what you've been cultured to.
A scrawny teenager.
Sorry, correction. Eddie Brock. Correct.
Oh man, you took us on a different journey.
Because Dylan's the OG right now. Sorry, Eddie Brock. Eddie Brock, the man that's in that comic book behind you. Forgive me.
No problem. Man, you threw me off. Okay, let me go back. Eddie Brock, correct?
Yep, Eddie Brock.
Badass.
Okay.
I don't know. I see him as
your one word. Your one word's perfect. A badass.
Yeah.
Did he portray a badass in the first film? No, he was a whiny reporter who had this crazy symbiote thing talking to him, and he didn't know what to do with it. And then he was like, "Oh my God, you eat people!" Like, come on. How do you take one of the most badass comic book characters? He was an astronaut. I mean, come on. He was so beefy, so muscular. When Venom went into him, it was like his personality came out. And then you have this guy that's like this comedy between him and the symbiote. I just not my Venom.
I disagree with Matt on this one. I actually think Tom Hardy.
I love Tom Hardy too. I love him.
And I had fun with his take on acting with Venom, right? So Venom is so much of culture, right? You think Venom, you think Deadpool. Those two characters, kind of anti-hero, villain, whatnot, they kind of propped Marvel up during that downturn of the 90s into the 2000s. So many people are beloved of Venom. And the portrayal of Venom is done in so many different ways that I feel like you can do it this way. I feel like you could make him more, buddy cop thing. But I do agree, like the voice, some of the stuff, they could have done it. They could have tweaked this just a little bit to make it.
I'm so hungry. Can I eat someone today? Oh God, I'm so hot. Let me go swim in this fish tank. I'm so hot. Oh.
But it was fun.
It's senseless comedy. I'm tired of fun movies. I don't want fun in my comic books. I want raw. I want grittiness. I don't want pre-teen drama. I just don't want it. Give me what I want. Give me this. Give me the FUs. Give me the F Batmans. Give me the action. Give me when you get hit, you feel it. Like, I mean, come on.
I'm with it, man.
From Woody Harrelson's perspective, is he the right Carnage for you?
Psychopath, yes. So Carnage
is
not
He's a great
muscular
actor.
dude. Carnage is a serial killer.
Right.
Correct.
And Woody Harrelson, so do you believe that Woody Harrelson will play the ideal Carnage going forward?
Yes, and if they kill him off at the end of it and don't bring on Absolute Carnage with a mix-up of Spider-Man, Venom, and Carnage, I have no faith in anything Sony will ever do with comic books, ever.
They should, based on what I from CB Cebulski, and this is coming directly from his mouth. I sat through his panel. They're bringing Absolute Carnage. So there's that. That's just coming from me.
Given the caliber of actor that Woody is, right? Whether it be comedy, whether it be serial killer, like natural born killers.
Mm-hmm.
His take on Carnage should bring this Venom movie to a darker place. That's what I want to say. It should bring Venom to a darker place, which is going to allow for that feeling you want, Matt, where it gets raw, it gets gritty. I don't think that it's going to be a rated R gritty where we see the blood and gore, but I do think we're going to see some messed up things that Carnage does. Now, when they get to Absolute Carnage, they got to go rated R, I feel like, right?
What's in the box? What's in the box? A flop.
Seven, beyond kind of some of the stuff that you saw, it was some of the stuff that you didn't see that really made that movie big, right? Because it was the acting and the ability of Morgan and Brad to kind of work off of, you know, who he shall now be named.
Suspense, edge of your seat, suspense.
Yes.
We don't have suspense. We don't have.
Rags said Venom 2 is going to shock some people. Is that in a good way or a bad way, Rags?
I'll listen to Rags' opinion when he comes on the show and talks about it. He's left me high and dry the last 2 shows, so.
Also, Doc J's in the house once we get there.
Doc J, Choo Choo's in the
Comics.
house.
Hey, Choo.
Like he says, Sans cut the cheese. Hey, it's one of those things where I say Carnage is going to bring the Venom movies to a different level of kind of darkness, and I see it. Like I think I am begging and praying that Spider-Man gets introduced in this as well, because it will bring together everything we need. You got crazy ass Carnage, you got Spider-Man and Venom having to team up. That is every fanboy's like yes, let's finally see the ultimate symbiote battle. Everything's going down. Do we see Spider-Man in a symbiote suit again? Whatever. It would be crazy if we could get something of that nature. So that's my take on the Carnage. I think there's potential. I just know it's gonna.
All right, so we got to go to our board. So we got to do a quick recap. We got 3 things we talked about. We talked about Spider-Man No Way Home. Kyle.
Yep.
Flop or hit?
I'm gonna go hit actually on that one. Hit.
Okay. Fans.
I'm actually gonna go flop on this. Not flop from a standpoint of, see, flop definition to me is interesting, because I'm thinking of, you know, flop can be money, right? Is it going to make money? Absolutely. Are people going to rank this movie in the pantheon of Winter Soldier or Infinity War? That type of, that's what I mean by flop. I think it's going to be further down the line. I don't even think it's going to be better than the first Tom Holland Spider-Man, if that makes sense to you. I feel like it's a setup movie for me. So I say flop from that perspective.
Cool. Yep.
Matt.
From a ratings perspective, it's going to be a hit because Disney owns Rotten Tomatoes. From a viewership perspective, it's going to be a flop.
Okay. All right, I'm the only on the panel.
All right, we skipped. We didn't get 10 Rings. The other one we missed on. I know we talked about it, but that's like the underdog. You know, they're saying it's going to be the worst Marvel revenue movie ever created. I've had the opportunity to know some people that have already seen it. So, what's our call? What's our call? Real quick, recap. Shang-Chi, the Legend of 10 Rings. Hit or flop?
10 Rings to me, I will say I'm getting Guardians of the Galaxy vibes all over again, where I had no expectations, low expectations, and this last trailer actually sold me. Like, I literally want to go to a movie just to see this now. I don't know if it was the way they cut it up finally, the way they've sold it and packaged it. First couple trailers, I wanted nothing to do with it. Now I feel like this is going to be a feel-good, good action, going to have some meaningful impact going forward as well. So my take on it is it's going to outdo critic expectations. It's going to outdo Disney expectations, whatever people are projecting, because fans are going to rally around this, right? You're going to get that first wave of people that go to see this, and they're going to be like, oh, that's actually good. Yep. And then you're going to get the second wave push that's going to make this a nice hit. So regardless of people saying, oh, you know, we're catering to a different market, or, you know, this is just a push to do X, Y, and Z, I think this is going to be a good movie. Kyle.
Cool. Sweet. I'll just relay right off that. This is the first take that I'm agreeing with Sans. Absolute hit.
Yes.
I think that this is a movie that is refreshing. I okay. I'm gonna just say this real fast. Captain Marvel, Black Panther, great movies, cool. The points that they were trying to hammer home were very forced. I think Shang-Chi will not force that kind of multiculturalism, and the like in Captain Marvel, it was like it felt like forced feminism, and then Black Panther was like forced culturalism. I think that the culturalism in Shang-Chi will be pure and genuine. I think it'll be an absolute hit. I'm so on board for it, and I can't wait to see it, but I'm not ready to go to theaters yet. I'll stream it whenever I can. So, hit.
Nice. We got two agreeing. Matt.
When my man TiVo from Lords in the Long Box told us Shang-Chi was coming, and his hype for Shang-Chi got me so hyped for it, I knew this movie was destined for greatness. 100% hit. I can't wait to see it.
Shout out to the Lords of the Long Box. Good.
Yeah.
Yo, really, shout out to all the people in the community who are doing what they do. I'm stuffing my face right now. I thought Matt was going to say
take a
more.
bite of my taco.
Right?
Yeah, I want some
Thanks
tacos.
a lot, Matt, for being very concise and very precise.
When you know what it is, you don't got to say a lot of words. Tom Hiddleston sucks. That's it. That's all I got to say.
So Shang-Chi what's great about Shang-Chi is you got a level of characters who are not known, right? You got this whole level of characters who are not known.
Absolutely.
You also got actors who are not necessarily the biggest actors in the world, but you have such an interesting perspective and dynamic that is coming to the table. I'm getting some of those vibes of a nice action film with some character development. It has some nice Doctor Strange feeling to it, some Guardian feeling, and it has some world building that I am really looking forward to. And what it's doing is it's making me interested in a comic book that I've never really read. So I've never read Shang-Chi. I'm a big Kung Fu fan in terms of watching, like Run Shaw. Like I will watch that all day. But I never wanted to read Marvel's Kung Fu or anything of that nature. This actually makes me want to read through it and understand the mysticism and the power behind what these 10 rings mean, right? And I don't know if Iron Man kind of messed it up for me earlier with the whole Mandarin and it being kind of like a ruse and everything. But I could have cared less a year ago when they announced, oh, Shang-Chi is coming in the 10 rings. I was like, oh, the Mandarin, who the hell cares, right? And it took to this third trailer for me to be like, wow, I want to see this. But I am on board. I'm telling this community to buckle up. We're going to have some fun here.
Can I just take a moment of silence for destroying the most amazing villain, the Mandarin, and the amazing portrayal Sir Ben Kingsley had of him? And when he did the call to the president and shot someone and said, "You'll never see me coming," that was amazing. And then in a blink of an eye, we got speedboat, cookers, and cocaine. Like, I've never been so messed with emotionally in my life in an entire movie. Like,
yes,
I think that was my downfall of Marvel films. Like that movie right there made me hate everything Marvel did from that moment on.
We got trolled. There's nothing wrong with that.
We got trolled. God. It is so true, man. Like that is where so me growing up, I worked in comic book stores and then I took a big break from comics for a long time. And then Marvel movies and everything kind of got us back into things. And then the whole, again, the pandemic got me back into really the physical comics, right? But for that movie itself, I knew who the Mandarin was. I was expecting to see some mysticism and something crazy going on. And what we got was kind of a ruse and this whole Wizard of Oz thing. And it really took the sails out of the wind for that one. The wind out of the sails. I was like, what in the hell? And to see so many people. And that's where I want to just transition just a little bit, because when
No
we
problem.
talk about fandom and we talk about movies, right? Is there room for movies to interpretate and do different than what the storyline has been or what fans are used to, right? Because fandom is so forceful at times that, oh, you killed my misery, right? Let's talk about it, right? What does it mean? Like, Matt, you brought it up. You're like, Venom is this iconic character, but what is the degree of difficulty pulling that off? We could do it, but sometimes the take on these iconic characters are different, and it really, really hits hard with a lot of fans.
I just want to take a brief moment when you talk about pulling it off. This is live data of CGC, how they're so much better than CBCS, and how CGC will never pull off equaling this greatness of CGC up here. Yep. See, look, the bar is so off. Yeah, it's like over here. That's CBC's chances of ever being equal to CGC. I just want to call that out. This data was supplied by Rags718. So if you need to contact him about where I get my sources, please reach out. I got nothing to say. Marvel will never do it. So you can pass it over to Kyle, because Marvel just comedic. It's too family friendly for me. I'm sorry. I just can't do it.
Okay. All right. So Doc J is in the chat, right? Doc J, in my opinion, is a fellow troll, just like myself. And my man Sans just said the word interpretate. Where is Doc J getting on Sans for saying interpretate? I need to see that in the chat. Interpret is perfectly fine, but interpretate is a made-up word. So,
oh my gosh.
Doc J, you're slipping. All I have to say.
But, yes, Doc J gave me a pass, man. CFAP called him up. He was like, let the homie Sans ride on that.
There you
go. But honestly,
what am I talking about? Yeah.
The question is fandom, right? And can fandom allow for artist interpretation? Can fandom allow for deviation from the main source? And what does that mean?
Cool. That's perfect. All right, I'm on board. Some of the best. I could go pull Raven and Beast Boy right now, and it was a series that was adapted from fandom. Like, fandom expands stories. It comes from like does anybody read Webtoon? It's an online aspect, digital only comics, but it's designed for mobile, and it's absolutely amazing. And a lot of these things come from fandom, and it's refreshing to see these kind of stories, just like the hot takes that Matt has been saying all night. Those stories would be awesome, and they would create these things. The problem is that it's like you can't get in the door. Because the reason that my acting career kind of fizzled out, one, I went to college, and two, I didn't know enough people. Like, it's all about who you know. It's 80% about who you know and getting things. That's why you watch comedy movies, and it's the same people over and over. They make a successful hit, and then they just keep running with it. It's just about milking it. I love fandom. Fan fiction, fandom in general is amazing. It's what keeps our conventions going. It's fun. These stories are awesome. The art is awesome. The immersion and the escapism is amazing. We could forget about all the things that are wrong in the world and get this momentary lapse of just wow and
Kyle,
completely immersed into a story.
Kyle, does fandom go too hard on the creativity of these, directors and artists if they deviate from the main story?
Absolutely, yeah. Because that's the story of fandom. Is the second that they're let down, they're the most vocal about it. Everybody wants to see certain things, but we all just have opinions. That's all this is. I mean, we have our takes on it. We either agree or disagree, but you stand by it, and that's the whole crux of fandom. is extremism in the sense of this is what it should be. I want this to happen, and then when it doesn't happen, oh, that was terrible. Or when it does happen, you're
Right.
blown out of your seats, and it's awesome. Like
Why do
a
I feel?
cool back
Why do
and
I
forth.
feel personally attacked by that statement?
because it's directed around this conversation. Like we've been
Like
having
my
this
chest
conversation for an hour
hurts.
and a
Like
half.
I feel like you just like you shot me with a kill shot. Like I don't even know what to say to that.
Matt just took off the blazer that was
I have
5
to.
sizes too small.
I was getting too hyped. I'm sorry.
He was about to Lou Ferrigno and bust out that bad boy. I love it.
Guy in a little coat. For Tommy Boy action, you can't go wrong.
Thanks for
Listen.
reeling me in as well, Sans, halfway through my rant.
No, I think
Brand, you
what
cut
happens
4
is-
arteries out of my chest. I mean,
yeah. You did that whole Indiana Jones. Oh Num Shiva. You was taking the heart out. Temple of Doom. Kalima, right? But that's a part of it. When we talk about the fans, right? Who are the fans? Your hardcore comic book readers, your people who grew up reading this stuff. And when you get a movie or a show, right? You're a Harry Potter, you're a Game of Thrones fan. You get a show that completely goes against source material. It is game changing. Like you can't. It is to the point where if they do it in a good way, okay, fine. But when you do it terribly, it just comes off horribly.
But the fans really don't matter anymore. Money matters. Right. Let's be honest.
That's what I was getting at.
Money matters. DC
Absolutely.
tries to cater to the fans, but the fans don't put up the money. That's why DC's not successful. Marvel caters to the money, and that's why Marvel's successful. They do as much field service to the fans to make them be like, okay, great. But then they're like, but it's wholesome, it's family friendly, it's something you can watch with your kids.
So
it's about money. It's not about anything else.
Really quickly, we talked about a few movies. Where does Pattinson's Batman rank for us going forward in the pantheon of Batman? In the pantheon of Batmans, where do we see this? Is it going to be the greatest, the worst, or somewhere in the middle?
It's going to be different. In Matt Reeves, I trust.
Yeah.
In Matt Reeves, I trust. What Matt Reeves did to the Planet of the Apes trilogy was amazing. I trust Matt Reeves. I know Matt Reeves isn't going to do the same cookie cutter story. I know Matt Reeves wants to be creative. That's what I want to see. I'm tired of the same thing over and over and over again. So Batman is going to be its own standalone. It's going to be right up there with the Joker, how they did their own thing and they excelled in it. Shang-Chi, own thing. Yes, it's part of Marvel's universe, but they did something completely different and it's working. It's fresh, it's new, and that's why fans will see it. It won't do good in the box office because COVID sucks. Let's just call it what it is. People won't go out to see it. When that shit hits Disney Plus, it's going to take off. It is. It everything I've heard, it's phenomenal. The characters are phenomenal. The culture is phenomenal, and I can't wait to see it.
So let's talk about what's going on right now in terms of where Marvel is, and we're landing on right now. What if? What if is up to episode 4?
Yep.
And I gotta say, from an animation standpoint, from a storytelling standpoint, I am entertained. I am not only this was one of the things I didn't have a lot of expectations for, right? I was looking forward to Loki, Winter Soldier, okay, Falcon, Winter Soldier, all right, I'll watch that. WandaVision, I was over the roof for. What if I didn't really have any kind of expectations? I was like, okay, it's filler until we get to the next movies and whatever. I am pleasantly surprised by What If. What is going on with the what ifs and where you guys land on it right now?
WandaVision, what if Loki, we don't talk about the other one. And look, dude, Winter Soldier is probably my favorite Marvel character. Like, and that's I'm just heartbroken over it. Like, it was too much of a bromance for my liking. I needed my assassin Winter Soldier back. But okay, yeah. What if I'm loving it, man? I love animated movies. I love the DC animated series. What if is giving me those one-off episodes every week of what if? I mean, that's the best part of a multiverse. What if it wasn't Steve Rogers? What if Steve Rogers became Iron Man? What if Peggy became, Lady Liberty or British, whatever they called her? What if Hank Pym was a psychopath and just reigned supreme across all of our Avengers? And then Loki just came in and was like, yeah, I'm the king. Kiss my ass.
Right.
I mean, but I love it. I love that because it's not the same story. That's why I keep telling you. People are getting tired. Yes, we're collecting. Yes, we're reading. But we're getting tired.
Kyle, your thoughts on What If?
Jeez. I agree with everything that Matt just said, like hands down. Like that was
that's
well
a first.
Spoken, Matt. Yeah, no, I'm on board. I have nothing to say. Matt took the words out of my mouth. I'm 100% back up 30 seconds or 45 seconds, replay that. That's what I'm saying. I'm 100%. Good
on
job.
the loop, Matt. Your hot takes right now are on point. Listen, when I get
just that hot take,
just hot take.
Give me one. What?
Just give me just one.
Just one.
But from a perspective of art, it's not animated art. It's not. DC's art still looks better to me. This is kind of Disney drawn a little bit, but it's done adult wise, and I'm really getting the vibe from it that I can dig it. But from a story and action wise, I have been over the moon with this. Like the Peggy story was amazing to me. This Doctor Strange story was like watching a great episode of The Twilight Zone meets Marvel.
Yeah.
Right. And it really took me on a journey. And then it gave me this whole sliding doors effect of what happens to this Strange and what happens to this Strange. And it was almost like it was a feature length movie that I wanted to see. Some of the way they're doing these, I would literally want to see a whole season of each one of these episodes. Now,
I think that'd be too much. I do. I think that's too much.
It might be too much. Maybe not a whole season, but I would love to see a little bit more, right? And what that says to me is that they've built the interest, or just like you said, they gave me just enough to make me fall in love with what they did, right?
But would you have the same love if it wasn't animated and it was our characters?
Maybe.
See, I don't know. See, I think the mysticism of it being animated and opens the door to that comic what if vibe, where if I saw the same characters on the big screen, I'd kind of be like,
This is true, but you tell me what, and we haven't gotten to this episode, Marvel Zombies. You give me Marvel Zombies meets Train of Busan, I am 100%. I want to see that live action all day. You understand what I'm saying? Like, give me a live action Marvel Zombies, because that, my friend, is kind of the ultimate kind of melding of everything. I love zombie movies, horror genre, and I love comics. And if you can give me that live action where it's actually bringing my Spider-Man, my Thor, all of these people into the zombie realm, holy shit, that's game changing. And if you can do it like a game of like a Train to Busan, I will be over the moon. So we haven't seen that episode yet, but I would have loved, and maybe we will, I would have loved to see Dark Doctor Strange.
You mean Mephisto?
Right? Live action. That might be what. That's why I prefaced it earlier. That might be what we see, right? Him absorbing those beasts and everything. Like, I don't want to ruin it for everybody, but that was a hell of an episode from last night. I will say, I will rank Peggy Carter's story first, followed by Doctor Strange, followed by I kind of put the Death of Avengers and T'Challa at the same level. I was okay with those.
Okay.
Those were good stories. Like I just wasn't like over the moon with those two, but overall, this whole series has been phenomenal for me, and that's what I want.
The T'Challa episode 2, pulled my heartstrings a little bit, man. It did,
And that's what it was made to do.
And man, it hurt. He portrays the Black Panther so well. It's gonna hurt seeing any like Black Panther 2. I am not looking forward to it at all because it's not him. So like that's what kills me.
It's what
that's what got me on Spartacus.
It allows you to grow in a different direction. It's unfortunate, but there was already growth within the comic itself that have allowed this. So it's not. I just feel like they need to do it the right way.
But they're doing it with the multiverse. Okay. They're going to pull a T'Challa from another universe, and he's going to be stuck here, and our T'Challa is going to be stuck there, and they're going to go on like life. They can't change it. Oh. Like they're gonna work it in the multiverse. Same thing with DC, Flashpoint. These are the ways to fix all your plot holes, fix all your nonsense, throw it out the window, and just be like, okay, this is what it is now. I mean, the New 52. How many times have comic books done? Like, you get to a point where you can't progress stories anymore. You can't do the same things. You need to start fresh. Boom, World's End, new world. Let's do it.
Yep.
Like, I mean, that's yeah.
We just saw Dark Ages drop, right?
That was an error. That's
an error.
Oh, what? Really?
I have to tell you.
That's an error.
No, it definitely is. You have to flip the book upside down to see the number one and everything else written correctly. But then you would have to read it like a manga backwards, right? And that's not how the story is designed.
Oh, okay.
No.
I never read that.
The 1 in 25.
I read that wrong.
The 1 in 25 cover is an error.
It's an error.
So just put that out there, ladies and gents. I got 5 of those bad boys because I know it is an error. So, but
we all know you do.
But here's look. Mark says the animated Marvel zombies. Yeah, I'm with.
Yeah, I agree, Mark. Yeah, I'm with you on that.
Mark, I am with you. And Mark is a big component. Get your Captain America zombie covers. I went digging in the bins. They're already gone. People have already. And let's transition a little bit to how collectors can be savvy with movie spec and everything else, because we just saw
they CGC their books and they make money. They CGC their books and they make money. They use any other source. They do not make money.
Well, let's say this, Matt, right? CGC, how long does it take you to get your books back?
Don't matter. You make money.
But just answer the question. How long does it take you to get your books back?
I cannot. I choose the Fifth Amendment for self-incrimination.
Right? Now, Kyle, simple math would say, right? Let's say we got a hot series today, right? Doesn't mean it's going to be hot in 6 months. Will we all agree to that?
Good. You're getting it back and forth, so you're still golden for 2 months.
Right. So CBCS will get you your books in 2 weeks if you pay the fee for like this extreme shipping. Whereas CGC can't do that. So you would take a series that is lightning hot right now, and if I could get that book in a 9.8 and sell it for 15% less than what the CGC value is it worth it to you as a collector or to you as a seller to do that in order to capitalize on lightning in a bottle? Right?
What you're saying right there, then it doesn't matter the greater than if you're in that same mindset, why don't you go with PGX?
Because you're not talking about the money.
No. You're talking about getting a book in a 9.8 as fast as possible. You're not talking about the value that comes with that label.
In order to sell it, there's only 2 players. We can't say anything else.
Oh wait, so you're reading out the third guy, but
there's only 2 players. There's 5 guys if you want to put it that way, right?
Yeah, EGS.
Right. There's 5 guys like the burger, right? We can say a lot of things, but there's only 2 legit players that you can go with right now. You have the industry leader and you have the other guys. But if I can get my books back 4 months earlier than the other guys and make the money back already, does that matter to you, Matt, at all? Versus, say, an older silver book, right? Hell yeah, I want to do that CGC because I'm keeping it, and eventually when I want to resell, I want to get the most money off of it. But if I got 10 copies of We Live #1 and I want to make the quickest money the fastest way, is it CBCS for you or no?
No.
Kyle?
I don't grade.
If you were trying to make money,
if I was trying to make money, I'd go CBCS.
Chat, what do you think?
Kyle, you're dead to me.
Don't grade. I don't grade though, Matt. Like my first.
Rewind the clock 30 minutes and just plead the fifth because I like you a lot. Just like come on.
My first answer was I don't grade. Just stick with that one in your head.
Kyle, what do you from a standpoint of you started selling books, and you're starting to move a little bit of your collection. Capitalizing on the value of the book at its height, being able to have those books back quicker, that matters to you, right?
In a sense of if I were a business and this was my actual ways of income, I would be remiss to not mention EGS, which William said. But then they don't have PGX destroyed their credibility. I hear all these horror stories about like grading companies in the sense of not consistency and stuff like that. It's all not perspective. I'm thinking of a word and it's subjective or objective. I'm not sure. Either way, I just don't trust anybody in that sense. Like, understand the pricing. Like, if you were to have a 9.8, it's a fixed grade, and the pricing is so much easier. Rather, if I were to submit a book and I show you the book, you don't know what that grade is. Like, you're leaving it up to my perspective, and that's why I put in the chat home grading. I'm always right. But it's all perspective. That's the word that I'm looking for. Perspective.
So then here, take your perspective. Sans,
yes.
Would you rather a nickel today or a quarter tomorrow?
If I can get,
would you rather a nickel? If you'd rather a nickel today or a quarter tomorrow?
A nickel today because I can reinvest it. It's that old
saying. So you can take that nickel and reinvest it 5 times, where you could sit patiently and make that quarter, and then have all the investment opportunities.
This is true. It's really a tomato, but a lot of people, if it's a day versus tomorrow, you really got to say, what's that timeline in between, right? Because what most people will say, will you take $1 million today, right? Or would you take a penny that doubles every day, right?
That's fair.
And some people will say, I'll take the $1 million today because I can invest it right now. But that penny that doubles every day is going to give you more than $1 million if you took it for 30 days. So it is perspective. But what I'm seeing with CBCS is if I could take a hot series like Stray Dogs, and I'll take shout out to my man Big Will, right? He jumped on Stray Dogs. He rushed them to CBCS, then had them on auctions, sold them for like $250, $300 a pop.
Yeah.
Right. He's made his money back. Now, if he wanted to invest in something else, he has that capital ready to go. Okay. It's really an economic thing about how much capital, how liquid do you want to be and how fast, right?
So again, he sold those books for $250 and sold 3 of them, say he made $775. But if he holds that book in a CGC grade and Stray Dogs takes off, that $250 is eventually $750, and 3 $750s is now $1,500. $2,250. So his investment to turn that around is a bigger gain. Patience wins versus the quick flip. Again, like you said, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
It depends on what he reinvests.
Value, the overall value, timing. value, timing. What do you prefer? Value or timing?
I agree with you, but I think it depends on what he takes that capital and reinvests it in, right? Because if he can now have 750 quick to get a grill that he wanted to reinvest in, then that makes sense versus waiting.
But you can buy a grill at a 2.5 and it's still going to be a grill, or you can wait and you can buy that grill at a 6.0. And quite frankly, a 6.0 looks a lot better, and you don't got to be drunk to make it look good.
It's really about how fast you can keep flipping your money, and so I think it goes different ways. Kyle, you're going to have to be the tiebreaker here.
Perfect.
Keep it raw.
Good.
Do it raw.
Here's the problem. I agree with both of you in the sense. Sands right here is a businessman. Matt understands that CGC is the better company. The perspectives that you're both like giving to each other, you're both agreeing with it and then providing a counter argument, but at the same time you're saying the same thing. Like, I understand that patience will get you more money in the long run, like no problem. But what Sands is saying is that what if the book cools off and then you don't get your profit? It's a balance. You don't okay. So what Sands is also saying is you don't over liquidate yourself. You need to have some kind of capital that you can reinvest. And what Matt is saying is that capital that you invested, if you wait, it's going to be worth more in the long run anyways. So that's where I stand.
How many times have we sold a book too soon?
Oh yeah, right here. I've sold my stray dogs for $8 a copy. Stray dogs, $8 a copy. I had everything. I sold my Noctera for cover price. I am a victim of that, but I don't care. I'm trying to make a comic book. That's my only thing. I'm reinvesting that money into my comic book. That's where I'll be fine with. I'm a plumber. I'll make my money that way. I'll bust my butt doing that. Comics are fun and I love them.
If your ass crack ain't out, it don't count.
Yeah, no, I got it. I got.
Listen, we are just coming up on our end.
Yes, this
has been fantastic. We want to hear from the chat. Matt, can you recap where we said like in 6 months, what the takes have been?
Yep. Here we go. Real quick. We're going to go down the line.
Thank you, Matt.
Shang-Chi, hit across the board. Spider-Man, No Way Home. Sands, flop. Kyle, hit. Matt, flop. Titans, hit across the board. The Batman, hit across the board. Eternals was on the list. We didn't get to it. So quickly, just shout it out. What do we got?
Flop.
I'm gonna go hit. I trust in my Game of Thrones crew, but okay. Angelina Jolie's in there. I changed my mind. It's a flop. We got a lot of great spec. The big thing is, we see the trend, and I'm just gonna lay it out. DC's taking gambles. Marvel's sticking with what works.
Yep.
And then DC has to take gambles. DC can't stick with what works because there's nothing working.
Yep.
Don't trust me. The smell is not there. I mean, come on.
Listen. I cannot wait to see where we land on this in 6 months, and cool. Even in a couple months with some of these that are dropping right now. I want to thank our chat. I want to really thank our panel for hanging out. It's Wine, Cheese, Comics. Ladies and gents, please sub up your panel members. Check them out on IG. Check them out when they're on auctions. We're having a blast. This is what we're going to do. We're going to bring this to the people. It's going to be more consistent. We're going to have some fun with this. But this is a night for the chat, the audience. Tell us what topics you want to focus on. We're here to have a wholehearted conversation with you, ladies and gents. With that being said, I want to thank you guys. It's been real. Peace out.